Hello comrades, yes it's me, a Yorkshireman now living in Wales, and I hope everybody's okay. So comrades, today I'm going to talk about this document here, and it is called The Future of Urban Consumption in a 1.5 centigrade world. Now, it's an interesting title because you have to read all 68 pages to make sense of it, and who's going to read all 68 pages? Well, I did. I had a look at it. I used various tactics and techniques in order to pull apart what it meant and the rest of it so I can bring it to you. And this will be one of about, I think, about 4 videos covering each bit which are going to affect us directly. So, this document, according to the front bit, is produced by University of Leeds, an organisation called AUP, but it's not that, but I'm using my Yorkshire accent to get around the fact that I don't know how you pronounce that, and C40 Cities. Now, if I remember, C40 Cities are literally part of the 15-minute cities, people who want us not to wander outside of 15-minute cities because everything we want will be there. Right. It's not a good outlook, is it? So the first question I asked myself when I looked at this document is, who's it for? So is it a consultation document for us, the public, to give them feedback? No, it isn't. It's like a handbook for the elites, and the elites in this case are things like mayors of cities, corporate people, CEOs, and I'm going to throw into that council leaders and of course government people, and this is possibly on either side of the political spectrum, because guess who funds it all? Well, I went back through the trail of funding, asked various questions, looked at the companies, and all trails lead back to the World Economic Forum. Yes, so they're the ones who have contributed to this, funded it, and they've done it by various other organisations which they are entwined with. And I will leave at the end of this the trail, so you can have a look at it yourself and decide, am I getting it wrong or right? So, what this document sort of suggests that we all need to save the planet by taking actions now. That's what it says. However, let's have a more pragmatic approach to this. The weather is changing, and that weather change is being caused by the actions of humanity. Yes, we all agree with that, I know that. Is it an emergency? At this moment in time, I'm going to say no. Because, being the age I am, I've heard we've had an emergency for the last 20, 30 years. Yet I'm still here. I've been told we're all going to burn to death or get starved to death with cold. Neither of us happened, you see. So the problem is, from my point of view, a person my age, I can't believe this. So when I looked at the documentation, the data collection started from 2017. And already that rings alarm bells because I don't think that's enough data. However, they've also modelled everything. Now, so when you start using models, we already know that models can be manipulated and things can be made so complex it's difficult for people like me to get my head around it. And that's why quite often in this document it references carbon, because it's difficult for us to touch it, see it or understand what it actually is. And in the research I've done for other videos, I've already seen they've calculated it a number of different ways to get the outcome they want. So, do I trust this paper? Not at all, because it's produced by the World Economic Forum and they are a set of elites. And those elites genuinely, from what I could tell, genuinely believe they're better than us and they need to manage the world. Literally, that's it. And they will do it any way they can. And this document, it makes what they call in suggestions, but as I go through the document and start to look at it, it's like, well, if you don't do it, we're going to have to impose it on you. And that is a little bit going back to the Great Lockdown. With the Great Lockdown, that used fear to get people to fall in line, and there's a lot of theories about that, is that, well, that was a test so they could then go further with activities like this document suggests. And this document, the prediction is that if we don't comply, we will get shamed into doing it by saying we're going to kill the planet. However, at the same time, ironical, as we saw during lockdown, the elite people, the special people, they still went and did whatever they wanted to do. They had parties, they flew off in jets, they had meetings, they had this, they drove cars, didn't they? And now we're just seeing exactly the same people, the World Economic Forum, at Davos at the meeting in Switzerland, fly into Switzerland, walk out about 10 yards, then get into a petrol powered car to then drive somewhere else. Everything they're telling us we shouldn't do. Now, I don't know what they had to eat there, but I should imagine it was lots of interesting things like well cooked meat, well cooked fish, and lots of different cheese and maybe eggs in the morning. And this brings me to the first bit I'd like to talk about. So in this 68 pages of this documentation, it goes on to say that we must do one of the things, and it looks at us as a consumer, and it says that we should reduce our consumption drastically of meat. And by meat I mean fish, meat, and also dairy products. And they're saying we the people should move on to plant-based alternatives. Now, think about that. Who would want that? Who would want it forced on them? Now, I've tried some of that, either by accident, or like someone says, oh, I'm a vegan and I've only got these Linda McCartney sausages. And I'll hands up, they were not bad. The other stuff, no, not for me. Didn't taste nice, didn't enjoy it. But if someone made a lentil curry, they're quite nice, but that's a one-off. But I'd have it because someone's made it, put the time in, that's it, and I'd be happy with that. I won't complain. But if it's my choice, I'm going to have meat, I'm going to have chicken, I'm going to have sausages, I'm going to have bacon, and that's it, I'm going to have it all. More so now than ever. However, you might have noticed the prices keep creeping up, don't they? And I think that's part of this agenda. Beef in itself has gone insanely expensive, again part of this agenda. So, just imagine this then. So you wake up in the morning, you think, oh, I'll have eggs. Well, there is no eggs. Why? Because you can't have dairy products. Oh, what about cheese? No, you're not having cheese. What about cheese on toast? Well, you can have the toast, but you can't have any cheese on it. Why? Dairy products. So how are they going to enforce it? In my last video I talked about digital currency. Well, this is how I think it would work, and there's a hint in the document. They're going to use what they call carbon credits, and that's why you have to understand it, but something we can't understand. So look at it as a con trick. So last week I go into the supermarket and I buy sausages, some chicken, and that's it. And that comes to 10 quid. And I go there and yeah, pay with my digital money, because for some reason we've all decided it's a good thing. And at that point, yeah. So I go this week, buy exactly the same, and it comes to 20 quid. And I go and I look and say 20 quid. Last week it was 10 quid. I know things are going up, but this is insane. Oh no, you've exceeded your carbon allowance on meat. What? That's literally what they would do. Now, of course, if I was rich, I'd say, oh, it don't matter, that's fine. So literally, the rich people, the elite people, they'll just pay themselves out of it all. They'll use money to get past it. Poor people, we won't have a choice in that. Now, there's a knock-on impact. Just think about in Wales, and even in Yorkshire, most places, you have a massive farm industry which relies upon creating dairy products and creating meat products. They're finished, they're dead, that's done. There is no need for that, because the big organisations, they want to go on to plant-based. Now, the plant-based market is actually dying at the moment, and the only players who are going to survive are the big players. So they want this because it's guaranteed profit for them. Of course, the farming industry would be decimated. In the same way, if you go into a local cafe and you said, oh, can I have a full breakfast, please? And they'd look at you and say, oh, right, what's your carbon rating? Oh, you can have half a sausage, or you can have a third of a bacon, and you can have half an egg. Why? Well, you've exceeded it. Or you might just walk in and say, I'll have eggs, bacon, sausages, and the rest of it. And they say, man, you can't have that. Well, can I have toast then? With butter? Well, you can't have butter. That's the state you would end up being in. So you won't be able to have fish and chips, you won't be able to have this, you won't be able to have a Sunday dinner. You go down and you go to a local event somewhere, and you somewhere, oh, we've got a barbecue going, oh, a bit of chicken, bit of maybe a little bit of pork chop and the rest. No, none of that. It'll all be plant-based stuff. And I believe in freedom of choice for things like this. But this document, this is one of the areas they are wanting to push, and they will enforce you on it, and they will shame you into doing it. Think about lockdown. Think about how they did all the shameful things. Oh, you'll do this and people will die because of you and the rest of it. Literally, that's the same playbook they're going to use here. So, you don't have to look at the document, but I'll leave it. But this is my take on it, and the other information I'll put towards the end of this. and then you can click and read it and make sure that I'm not misleading you. But again, it's my personal opinion, so whatever. Anyway, thank you for watching, comrades. Catch you on the other side, and hope everybody's okay. Thank you.